Hey there, lovely friends. Thank you for joining me tonight. And I'm calling you lovely friends so that you'll like me better, I think is probably why I'm doing this. Because I'm that needy. But yeah, thank you for joining me, my friends. I'm gonna, in a second, actually act like I know what I'm doing. Right now, I just want to
that you'll like me better, I think is probably why I'm doing
that annoying. Apologize for that. Right now, I just want to get frustrated at YouTube for having all these pop-up things come at me. Single notice for all the stream previous moderators have been. I think that was nothing but annoyance. Let's do this again. Welcome, friends. I'm here just to talk with you guys, give you a little bit of updates on me and what I have going on, which is me. It's not me being arrogant. It's me just being narcissistic enough to think that, of course, you want to know what's going on in my life, what I've been up to. Then actually, for me, more meaningfully, is I want to jump into some of your questions, if you have any for me. Kind of a little ask me anything sesh, as the kids would say. Old people would say session. But yeah, so I want to talk with you guys so that you think I really appreciate you. And I do really appreciate you watching my stuff, but I also want you to really think that I appreciate you watching my stuff. So we're just being transparent here. Got Zephyr with me. This is going to be the most important part. What's up, Bobby? You want to say hi? Zephyr's doing well. Actually, start you off with a little bit of a not so exciting note. Saturday, I was traveling back from, let's say I was in Boulder, Colorado, and unfortunately, Zephyr had a really severe back reoccurrence, which the way to get my heart twisted is through my lovely dog. So about 5 years ago, Zephyr had back surgery, and talk about Zephyr, you'll see him in little corners of my videos. So 5 years ago, he had a back surgery, and he's had a few minor reoccurrences since. Now he's scratching to get out of my office. He's got me trained incredibly well. So yeah, long story short, he was in severe pain on Saturday, and I'm on the floor of the Denver airport, actually just crying, talking with my friends who were watching him. And yeah, they did an amazing job watching him and took him to the vet, had to get pretty medicated. And by midway through Sunday, he was doing like really good. So yeah, my heart's actually been through a pretty significant roller coaster lately. But yeah, so let me bring you up to speed a little bit. I've been traveling a little bit like a maniac. About 3 weeks ago, I was in San Diego, California, doing some live performances at JJ Virgin's event called the Mindshare Summit. Just absolutely incredible. I met so many amazing people. Just like, when I say amazing, I'm saying like amazing with a capital A, like capital A-hole amazing people. They weren't A-holes, but like 10-year-old part of me wanted to say that. Yeah, and I enjoyed my stage time doing comedy for the very large crowd. I absolutely loved it. And getting back to San Diego, it kind of rekindles my roots. I lived in San Diego for 10 years, up until like 2 years ago. So it was a wonderful trip. And then let's see what else from there. Let's see, a week and a half ago, I was in San Jose, California, doing an appearance and some stage time and meeting a bunch of people at what's called Fan Fest, Heroes and Villains Fan Fest. Very wonderful, unique event for me, at least, to be at, and I just loved it. And then from there, I went to Boulder, Colorado, where I was recording the audiobook of my book, which will be released, the in-print version and the audiobook version. It'll be released about March 7th, I believe, 2017. That was a trip. That was absolutely a trip. I mean, a lot of fun, just amazing person. People, Mitchell, the sound engineer that I was working with most of the time, he was just, so much fun to be around. Zephyr's having control dramas in the other room if you can hear him. But the trippy thing is like talking into a microphone, reading my own book for 18 hours straight. That, like, at times my mouth would go numb, and at times like I couldn't read the words in front of me. Like my vision was just very blurry. And I was honestly, I poured my heart and soul into that because I didn't want to have the audiobook just come across like some redheaded jerk is reading it in some monologue boring fashion. I personally won't listen to audiobooks like that. I just won't. To me, they might be great information, might be entertaining information, but how it's expressed is in a very boring way. So I really wanted to pour my heart and soul into the audiobook version so that it would be alive. So it would be just like it was me normally talking rather than me reading a book out loud. You'll have to let me know this spring, actually late winter, how that comes across. You might say, JP, you actually failed miserably, you jerk. One, I don't know why you're calling me a jerk, but two, I would love your feedback either way. Yeah, so I was in Boulder all of last week doing that, and then back here home in what my friend Daniel would call the ultra spiritual heart quarters in Charleston. So yeah, and here I've been having a lot of fun. Friend Daniel Eisenman and his lovely wife, also a friend of mine, Deanna Eisenman, they've been staying with me for a while. They've got their new dog, Araya, beautiful little pit bull puppy. And if you're following me on Snapchat, and if you're not, feel free to go waste your life there with me. Awaken with JP is where you can find me on Snapchat. But you'll see a lot of puppy shenanigans on Snapchat. So anyway, that's Dan and Deanna's dog. Then we also have a dog trainer staying with us, a lovely guy named Dylan. Daniel flew him in from Phoenix to help train Araya because she's a pit bull, so they want her trained up really well. So we've got them here. So it's a lot going on, both within my house as well as traveling around. I'll be actually, I'm going to bring them in a second, but before I do that, my next travel event, I'll be at the Symbiosis Gathering Festival. That's in Northern California, a bit outside of San Francisco. If you care to join me for that, love to have you there. I'll have, I think, 3 different stage performances I'll be doing. It'll be a festival. It'll be hippie. It'll be ultra spiritual. I imagine there will be a lot of men and women there with too much armpit hair. So I'm looking forward to it. Let me bring some people in to spice this thing up, if you know what I mean. Would you guys care to come say hey? Just act normal. Don't say anything stupid. Don't ruin my YouTube career, but just be yourself and no pressure. Hey. So some of y'all would certainly recognize friend Daniel from, I don't know, a bunch of my videos, and you might recognize me from some of his videos. And then Dylan, he's a dog trainer I was telling you about. Dylan, what's your last name?
Blau.
Blau. See some ID on that. I don't know if I believe that. But yeah, I was just telling the crowd that you're doing amazing things with Araya, and you're on YouTube.
Yes.
Your channel is
We Are Dog Training.
We Are Dog Training. So the seduction there is you think he trains dogs. In reality, my perception is he trains people to think that they're training dogs, but I think in reality, dogs are pure enough that all we need to do for them is train the people around them so that the dogs can be their naturally pure self. But yeah, man, I'm curious, before we put Daniel on the spot, do you care to take a second and share a little bit about your dog training philosophy? I found him very unique. I love it.
For sure. I train naturally, so I don't like to use painful tools like shock, choke, prong, or e-collars. I don't even use treats, to be completely honest.
Do you ever stab the dogs with like a samurai sword? Is that like
no extreme pain?
So that would be painful.
Yeah, that would be part of the extreme pain. But we do it completely naturally, and a lot of it, like you said, is training the owner to understand what they need to be a dog trainer, just like Daniel.
Yeah. So you guys have spent like hours working on training today, and I've pretended to be like working, whatever that means, I don't really know. So in other words, you've spent hours training Daniel today.
More or less, yeah.
And I'm curious, how has it been like training Daniel?
A lot of it is, getting them to feel empowered to train the dog themselves, and it's kind of like passing along knowledge. My knowledge. If I can give him everything that I've learned in my experience, then he's able to pass that on to other people, and definitely to his dog. So, that's the whole point.
Do you feel empowered, Daniel?
Indeed. Yes.
Cool. Well, thank you for the rundown, and I love the natural thing. I personally, I think I might care about dogs more than people sometimes. Mm-hmm. And if you think that's wrong, then I think you're wrong for thinking that's wrong. Might as well have some disagreement. But I love the deal about no pain with the dog training. That would just kind of make me want to throw up in my mouth. Watching people inflict pain on dogs and justifying it with, well, I'm teaching the dog to be a robot and act the way I want the dog to act. It's like, screw the dog's free will.
It's kind of like bullying in school. It's not causing the end result that we may think. There were 380 school shootings last year as a result of bullying in schools. So the same thing goes with painful techniques. If I wanted you guys to look out the window, I can point or I can touch you on the shoulder. I don't have to smack you in the face to get you to look out the window. When you're associating pain with instruction and guidance, that's when they get confused, and you're ultimately causing some problems. So doing it naturally is the way to go, without pain.
So, and I know you do I think it's literally well over 10,000 dog
free
training
lessons a year.
Free lessons a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're definitely an outlier. So in all of your thousands and thousands of dog training lessons, have you ever had a dog shooting?
No dog shootings, no.
So that proves that the painless dog training techniques work. At least by my standards. Oh, can you show everybody how you pick a raya up by the back of the neck? This might look a little startling, but it's so relaxing to a raya.
So if you notice where the back of the neck is, just like the mom would, they would pick you by the fat of the neck, and they would be completely relaxed, as you can see.
Yeah.
Completely still.
She's a beautiful dog.
Beautiful. Can I give her a kiss?
Look how pretty girl. So last night when I saw Dylan pick a rye up like that for the first time, I got butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, oh my God, God is dog spelled backwards, by the way. You're hurting her. But it's no, if you were here, she is just so relaxed. It's kind of like her being in the womb of her mother's mouth.
Yeah, when you think about the lion cub being picked up by its mom, they pick it up by the back of the neck and bring it back into the pack when they're out of line.
Yeah, well, and then because Daniel is an absolute bro of mine, we're doing business together, and I say that in an inconspicuous, vague tone so that you guys think we're ultra important. But because you're such a bro, Daniel, I'm wondering, I'm just going to hop over here. Would you mind sharing with the lovely folks online what you've been up to recently?
Oh, I would definitely be a major part of the equation that we were alluding to, of the person that's being trained to train the dog. But in reality, I would say it's been an affirmation to infinity and beyond of the very gray line between a teacher and a student. Mm-hmm. And the best way, in my opinion, it's definitely an affirmation. The best way, in my opinion, to learn something is to lead it. Lead a group of people around the belief that you're wanting other people to learn. And I think people are doing that. I think people are wanting to, what they're teaching, they're wanting to master.
Right on.
So I've been enjoying being a part of that process, especially for this lovely being right here. I'm learning a lot. I can see JP. JP's had a dog for how many years? Come on. Is this where the ultra enlightenment comes from? How many years have you taken care of that dog?
That dog.
Right,
his name is Zephyr, by the way. A little offended.
I'm saying for those. Yeah,
so Zephyr, his 12th birthday is coming up on September 20th. So big celebration. You can send Zephyr your grass-fed steaks, pretty much any kind of meat. He refuses to be vegan, so I assume he's going to hell. So big celebration for Zephyr's 12th birthday. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Oh, and just on a not so shameless promotion, the Costa Rica event, is that ready to?
Yeah, that's it. We're live. We're live. That's it.
Yeah,
This is it.
So might as well do a shameless promotion that I don't feel shame about. Amongst other things that Daniel does, he runs what are called international tribe design events. I've actually been a part of 3 of them this year. Both they're participating, and I guess so I get to feel important about myself. I'm a guest presenter. Is that
Pioneer.
So
that's tribes. We have pioneer roles.
Upgrading the word presenter to pioneer.
It is interesting because have we ever put you on stage, or has it been? In my opinion, we get people that are usually on stage and sometimes behind the stage, but this time it's all in a circle. Everything is done communally.
Yeah.
We see how strong the tribe we can build. It's not like who's the most important. It's like, wow, we're all the most important.
Yeah, it's very much a connecting experience. It's no get on stage and talk at people, or there you are in the crowd and listen like you're just some number. But yeah, it's a very tribal connecting experience. So moral of that story, the next International Tribe event is in Costa Rica in January, and I'm at this point, I'd probably say 100% sure that I'll be there.
Whoa, this is like a formal announcement.
He's
giving this is like his live. He's like proposing to me live.
So
JP,
apparently, Daniel, we might get married, but before that, if you care to join myself and Daniel, and then a lot of other pioneer, just like-minded, more importantly, like-hearted people, January, Costa Rica, we'd love to have you. I'd love to meet you. And is it internationaltribedesign.com?
That's the website you'll go to, and you'll see a video of a clip of our last event in British Columbia. But below that, I believe there's an apply next, or see the next event in Costa Rica. Go there, fill out a simple application, and we'll probably get back to you pretty quickly because we capped the event at 150 people because there's a lot of research that's being surfaced that our cognitive ability to gossip within a group of people effectively caps at around 150. We like to gossip positively in the ultra spiritual heart quarters, so we want to make sure we're doing it the best way possible.
Yeah, and you have to apply, which of course should activate your deep unconscious to make you think this is exclusive, and you run the risk of not getting in, so that makes you want to get in more. And it's like, well, let me pay just quadruple the price so that I can definitely get in with my application.
Or it could remind us, is the meaning of death life?
Yeah, it's a great question.
I was looking for an ultra spiritual silence. I got it.
Yeah, I like that. Well, cool. Thanks for saying hey, guys. You're welcome to hang out if you want, but no obligation. I'm just gonna dive into some viewer questions and comments.
Okay, cool. I might float around a little bit.
Cool.
I might walk around and sense the energy, make sure everything's good on the outside of this container.
I love it. Cool, guys. And yeah, if you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask me about anything, I like to pride myself in having no pride, but more importantly than priding myself in having no pride, is priding myself in being an open book and being transparent. Why would I want to do that? Who knows why? I'm probably dropped on my head too much as a child. But another possible reason that I consider might be an actual reason is you guys watch my videos, and I have a very deep appreciation for that, and I'm very happy to share as much about myself as I possibly can, or my perspectives in life, which are probably significantly more important than just stuff about me. So I'd be happy to share as much about that, about me and my perspectives as I can, is a short way of saying appreciate you guys. Kevin S. asks, oh, this is so important. I have a date tonight. Where do I take her? Don't take her anywhere. If you take her, she'll feel controlled. She'll want to be defiant and not let you have control. Let her lead the way. Just like a dog trainer would train you in how to train your dog. Let your girl have control. I'm going to shut this door. By the way, my most important advice is never take dating advice from me. So, let's see. Essential oils is your new fave. The only one, John. Thank you for that. Appreciate the comment. Sam K, where are his hairs? I don't know what that means, but I've got my hair slicked back a little bit. Got out of the shower so I can look like I'm in the mafia. Felipe asks, what made you start my YouTube career? What made me start my YouTube career? Here's my thought on that. In 2013, I stopped teaching for Holistic Exercise Nutrition Health Institute called the Czech Institute, and I thought, okay, like I want to get another way to get in front of a bunch of people so that I can get more clients into my emotional healing coaching practice. So I thought, well, let me start making YouTube videos. So that's what I did. And I think April 2nd, 2013 was when I uploaded my first video. And at the time they were just all sincere videos, kind of like life advice on healing and emotional wellness and spirituality. I'll say the same thing, I think, different terms. And then probably a year and a half later, so I think it was October 2014 is when I started doing comedy videos, also as a way of sharing my perspective through the language of humor. And I still do sincere videos. I don't, whether you see them or not, certainly up to you, they don't get nearly the viewership that the comedy videos do. But that's besides the point. I digress. That's the Cliff Note answer, and I love the question. Comatose Ninja, what will be my platform for the upcoming presidential election? My platform, I assume that you're assuming that I'm running for president, which of course I am. And I think my platform is this, flat earth theory. If you don't believe in the flat earth theory, then I don't want your vote. And that's going to make people vote for me because they want me to want their vote. So they're going to try to give it to me. I don't think there's ever been another presidential candidate that's run on the flat earth theory platform. Or if you're talking about like a literal platform, I think I'll make my platform out of wood, like natural stuff. Debbie Reeder asks, as a ginger, do I own a soul? No, I do not, Debbie. It's a great question. No, I do not. Can I wear the US flag Speedos again? Yeah. In fact, if you check out my Facebook page, my JP Series page, there's another picture I posted of me in the American flag Speedos in my hotel in San Jose. So that I'm sure that picture is within the top 6 posts. Now, there is so much noise happening. Makes me feel like I have no control of my environment because I don't. Do I think the election is controlled? Man, that's a dangerous question. Well, let's get into that. Do I think the election is controlled? I don't know that I would subscribe to that term. I think there's not as much influence that each voter gets as we think we get. I think the Electoral College really dilutes the validity of each person's vote. And yeah, so I find that pretty interesting, and I find it interesting how we as a society, get on my little soapbox here, why we as a, or how we as a society just kind of accept, well, that's the way it's always been. Like our votes don't necessarily count as a one vote thing, and kind of goes into the Electoral College that doesn't really have a direct correlation to who voted for who. So kind of case in point, based on what I'm told, George W. Bush lost the popular vote of both the elections that he was in, but he won the elections. So I don't know. I might just think too one-dimensionally and think like whoever gets the most votes should win, but that's not the way it is. And P.S., like, thank God the world doesn't run the way I think it should, or else it would be scary. There would be a lot more dogs. There wouldn't be loud motorcycles. I don't like those. That's probably the only differences. Wouldn't be atomic weapons, nor would there be any weapons. Wagner Brothers, bananas. The answer is yes to bananas. What would I change about the electoral college? Well, I'm definitely not like super educated on anything other than what I just said. So I think how I would change it is like, I would just like eliminate that and let the votes accumulate like within the united whole of the United States rather than kind of the fractionated electoral college divisions. It's sounding stupid at this point, JP. Will I make an ultra spiritual Tai Chi video? Great question, Pete West. Thank you for that. I don't know. That is not on the list, but I think it's definitely worthy of considering putting on the list. So yet to be determined, but thank you for the suggestion. Hoko, hey mate, to you too. Bob asks, how do I get my hair to look so amazing? It's a great question. It's pretty easy, actually. Only about 3 hours of blow drying, followed by 11 hours of meditation on my hair. And then it just obviously happens. Cranky says, I'm a brave person. Thank you. Nicholas, my favorite marsupial. It's a great question. Are monkeys marsupials? I graduated high school, but that's about it. So if monkeys are marsupials, then I'm going to go monkey. But now I'm thinking that marsupials might be the animals with pouches, like kangaroos. And because kangaroos are the only marsupials that I can think of, my answer is going to be kangaroo. And the irony of that question is the flip side of that, what would be my least favorite marsupial? Because kangaroos are the only marsupials that I think I'm aware of, then kangaroos are therefore also my least favorite marsupial, but my favorite too. And now I'm really convinced that monkeys are definitely not marsupials. You're silly if you thought they were. Hoko, do I think communism is bad? Honestly, I've never lived in communism. So I can't answer that with any legitimacy. I can say that my lovely ex-girlfriend, Deanna Deaver, who I moved to Charleston, South Carolina for, like Romeo, we broke up earlier this year. Still great friends, though. I love her to death. But anyway, she was born and raised in Romania, and I think up until she was about 7 years old, Romania was under communism. And she said she really doesn't like it. So I would guess she would say communism is bad. And the most I can say is I can say that she would say that communism is bad. But really, I have no opinion. Just a curator of information. Do you think communism is bad is a better question. What is my favorite kind of pickle? Really spicy pickles. The kind that make my intestines hurt the next day. They're so spicy. I need more spice in my life. I need more spicy pickles, damn it. Zephyr, get me spicy pickles now. He's not moving. Paper or plastic? I go with paper. Adina, you're Romanian too. Right on. I was in Romania, let's see, October, November of 2014, visiting my ex-girlfriend's family. I think Romania is lovely. Broccoli asks, do I have any illnesses? Yes, I'm a delusional redhead. And I actually sometimes think what I have to say is important. And I actually sometimes laugh at myself. So I'm incredibly diseased. Ultraviolent Droog asks, am I a Christian? I am not. I'm Caucasian. Lene, thanks for joining us. I love you too. That felt romantic. Let's see. Long screen name, IDK There's so many letters. I'm done. But what's my opinion on LSD? Yeah, I'm highly cautious about it. I mean, it's a synthesized drug, and there's so many conflicting sets of opinions on it. But I am convinced that it can destroy brain cells in a significant way. I've heard scary things about synaptic connections just being completely burnt out to no repair with LSD. I've used it 3 times in my life, about 10 years ago. One of the times was like really enjoyable. One of the times was pretty just neutral. Then the third time was not enjoyable. So I haven't used LSD for 10 years. I don't feel called back to it. And I don't advocate it. And I'm not dogmatically against it either. I think it's just, if you're going to use it, be incredibly well informed rather than just listening and hearing things that validate your curiosity that makes you want to use it. I think I love curiosity. I think curiosity takes us to the fountain of youth. However, I think acting on curiosity mindlessly can be a dangerous thing. You know, curiosity killed the cat. I think curiosity is great, but how do we act on that? We can have tons of curiosity and really embody it, but if we let our behaviors and actions be just closed-mindedly driven by our curiosities, I think that can be very dangerous. I think we have a brain for a reason, and I think it's to help us weigh the consequences of our potential choices. So we say, wow, this is a great curiosity, curious about this drug, and I feel the curiosity, and my brain tells me, don't act on that curiosity. Feel the curiosity, but it's okay to be curious without satiating the hunger of your curiosity. Zephyr taught me that. Larry D, who's my favorite Beatle? John Lennon. I'm offended you would have to ask, but thank you for asking, Larry. Oh, Finn asks, that's my nephew's name, would I turn into a dog if I had the chance? I think at some level I have had the chance, and no, I wouldn't. Amelia asks, how do I cope with stress about workload? Yeah, sometimes really well, other times not at all. Let's see, for the past year and a half, I've been, up until like 8 weeks ago, I've been under what I would call like a mounting workload. I work a lot. I love the work I do. I don't even call the work I do work. I do call it that, but I don't mean it. It's things I feel very purpose about. However, the past year and a half, I've had mounting responsibilities, commitments, things on my plate, a treadmill of incoming communication that moves way faster than I can alone. So early summer, I kind of reached a breaking point where I'm like, I could actually kill myself trying to do everything myself. So the solution for me was surrender control, hand control over different aspects of my business to other people, because having control over everything, I do believe that it can legitimately kill us. I believe it was killing me slowly. But the good news was, to my dysfunctional ego, I was in control. That was the good news, and that was the terrible news as well. So I hired, some would call her an executive assistant. I would call her my guardian angel, beautiful lady named Karen. So I handed over a lot of control over my inbound communications, out scheduling things, tons of little minutia that has to be done, but it doesn't fulfill my heart. So she took over. I got some other people that I'm working with too. So long story short, find a way to surrender some control is what worked for me. And I don't know if it'll work for you in your unique situation, but it's a consideration. What is the correct political philosophy? Be kind to freaking everybody. And I said that in a kind of mean way. Life's too short to be clear. Am I a Beyonce fan? You know, I probably wouldn't know a Beyonce song if I was listening to it. And I might not even know her if she was standing next to me. I don't think she is. I don't think anybody's there. So I have a lot of respect for her, but I actually don't consider myself a fan. And I feel a little bad for saying that. But Aja, please don't feel bad if you think you made me feel bad. I made myself feel bad. Deep South Moto, do I ever take myself seriously? Unfortunately, I do. And that's probably one of my greatest illnesses. I do at times take myself seriously. And there's another part of me that really takes myself humorously and without attachment, and questions my beliefs and looks at the way things seem to me and realizes nothing is as it seems. And I actually start to take it seriously that I should take myself humorously. So the seriousness even creeps in to the non-serious side. So I got to watch that. Mia, so reconsider your thoughts on loud motorcycles, JP. I'll reconsidering my thoughts. What do I think about Dr. Oz? No opinion. I've never seen a show. I think he has a show. I've never met him personally, so I have no opinion. Other than when they put him on magazine covers, they put way too damn much makeup on him. And I don't think that's opinion on him. I think that's whoever is like trigger happy on the makeup. It's like, let the guy look like a human instead of like a face buried in makeup. I actually think all people look better without makeup. Kelsey asks, advice for high school students, for sure. Whatever you have happening, do your best to not take it seriously. Things that really feel like they matter, I would say they're meaningful, but they don't really matter in the scheme of things. In fact, I don't even think they matter in the micro scheme of things. So when you're older, you'll look back and you'll feel goofy about the things you felt stressed out about and that you took important. And honestly, nothing can get you completely there prematurely. So maybe inching you there, just maybe a little bit in advance, I would just ask you to consider what you feel stressed out about doesn't really matter. You know, the whole social circles of high school. High school is a really tough time, I'll be honest with you. When I think back, that was probably the hardest period of my life. Hardest in the sense of like least satisfaction inside of me, because I was so damn concerned about what other people thought. And I was so damn concerned and making sure it didn't come across like I was so damn concerned about what other people thought of me. So here's another piece of advice for high school students. Become incredibly, let me start that sentence over. Hold an incredible value about what you think about yourself, not what other people think about yourself. And when you start thinking about other people, like, oh, she's a jerk, or he's cool, or I'd ask you to realize you're just projecting yourself onto them. So a way to escape the trap of being so concerned about what other people think of you is realize that when you're thinking of other people, it kind of is, oh, they're awesome, kind of like the high school thing. Bring your attention back to yourself. And so it's kind of like becoming self-centric in a really, really important way to bring your attention into yourself rather than on the whole outside world, because there's no way we'll ever be in control of how the outside world experiences us. We might think we can, but I don't think we ever can. So we can drive ourselves absolutely nuts about that. And I know I did in high school. So if I can save you 1 ounce of nuttiness, it would be concern yourself with yourself, not what other people think of you. Do I watch other YouTubers? Yes, I do. I love Casey Neistat. I love Gary Vaynerchuk. I love the Bondi hipsters. I love Bro Science. Who else do I love? A lot Love a lot of YouTubers. And oddly enough, I'm thinking of like 4 right now. So and Elliot Hulse, he's a bro. I love him to death. Would you steal bread to save your family from starving? Absolutely. I don't know that I would steal bread. I'd probably like steal a gluten-free option, but boil it down, I would steal to save my family from starving. Damn right, I would steal a bunch. But I wouldn't steal otherwise. I don't think I've ever stolen anything in my life, which would, by deduction, you could deduce that my family has never starved, which I'm very grateful for. Debbie Reader, making any more funny videos? Well, that's up to you to judge whether they're funny or not. Yeah, I have my next Ultra Spiritual video. It's done and dusted. I'm not sure exactly when it'll be released, but sometime. And then, yeah, tons of additional comedy videos on the list. So, yeah, stay tuned. Let's see, what else? Daz, what's my favorite movie of all time? I got to go with Pulp Fiction. Is that the right answer? I hope that's the right answer. Daz, is that the right answer? I think it's the right answer. How do I nourish my soul? Man, I think gratitude for what I have and what I am. We can get very lost just dwelling on what we don't have and what we're not. And I think that really creates a drought of nourishment and joy inside of us. So, man, I don't care how scarce someone's living conditions are. There is a crap load to be grateful for. The question is, do you have an awareness about what you have to be grateful for? To me, that's the only question. And can you also be grateful for and appreciate who you are right now? Not who you want to be, not who you think you should be. That's all kind of like in fairy tale land, but can you appreciate who you are right now? If you can't, then I would dare say you're not going to feel nourished and fulfilled inside. And I would actually say you can, but, you know, semantics at this point. Do a ultra spiritual Q&A. It's probably a good idea. I've done a couple of those and probably should do that again. It's been probably over a year. The Ultra-Violent Droog again. Who's my favorite author? I think James Hollis. He's a Jungian psychologist. I love his books. He's got one of his books is called What Matters Most, I think. Another one is Finding Meaning in the Second Half of Life. So that's the James Hollis I'm talking about. What helps me refocus on what's important? Yeah, making space for it. So actually every morning for the past probably 2 months, actually since I attended a Tony Robbins event in Dallas in, let's see, end of June, per his suggestion, I've been doing every single morning a gratitude practice where I write down the 3 things that I'm most grateful for in the morning, as well as followed by 3 things that I'm intentionally creating in my life. So doing that every single day to me is important to hold the focus. Otherwise, I can be very focused one day, but if I don't kind of like recalibrate the focus, after a while, it's like I wake up one day and it's like, wow, I'm kind of all over the place with my focus. Consistency of recalibrating your focus. It's like my 1-sentence answer. Is porn bad for your spiritual growth? I don't know. Is it bad porn or is it good porn? Dexter says, I can't tell if what you say is for real or a parody of something. Dexter, I can't tell either. What do you think it's like to live with myself if you can't tell? How do you expect me to tell? Please pray for me at this point. Do I have any podcast recommendations? Yeah, I've been loving the Tim Ferriss podcast. Absolutely love it. And I've dabbled in some others. The Tony Robbins podcast, I think, is pretty cool. The Chase Jarvis podcast, I think, is wonderful as well. And then I also have to be biased enough to say any podcast that I've been on, I think, is really good. Is that a little arrogant of me? No, it's not self-absorbed at all. Do I like chicken? Yes. How many kids do I have? 0. Let's see. Thoughts on Lana Del Rey's spirituality? I'm glad she has some. Have I ever given an adrenaline shot? You know, anytime I watch Pulp Fiction, I wish I had that opportunity, but not yet. Let's see. Ooh, Stushi, love this question. What do I think about pretend shaman on the internet who take money from foolish people? I think pretend shaman are incredibly dangerous, to be honest with you. Got a somber note. A message from a lady earlier this week. Her son went to a pretend shaman somewhere in South America, did ayahuasca, and he died. And I've heard other various stories about that. And so I think a real concern is there's tons of pretend shaman out there. There's probably real shaman. There's probably just less of them. And if you yourself are not a real shaman, then it probably makes it pretty difficult to judge accurately who is a legit shaman and who's not. So dangerous territory, if you ask me. Did you know you can make banana pancakes with just 1 banana and 2 eggs? Yeah. Daniel's wife, he was on earlier, if you happen to join at the beginning, she does that exact recipe. Very good. What do I think of Bruce Jenner? He probably used to be better at decathlons than he is now. Do you do cognitive behavioral therapy? I don't. Let's see, let me get these comments under control. Kent, am I really in spirituality or just parody? Yeah, I take my spiritual life incredibly seriously. Sincerely, I don't like the word serious. I'm serious when I say I don't like the word seriously. But yeah, I have a very sincere spiritual life. For me, what is spirituality? To me, it is feeling connected to something beyond ourselves. And it's actively exploring mystery. So I think spirituality is flirting with the unknowns in life, not the knowns. I think the knowns, that's the realm of our mind. What is JP's goal in the spiritual pursuit? Is it like Eckhart Tolle says, to remove the chatter of the mind, or something else? Yeah, my goal is probably not very aligned with Eckhart's. I think sounds like a great goal, but it's not mine. To me, mine is to explore the mystery. There's a quote I love, for the life of me, I can't remember who said it. It's got to be a wise person somewhere sometime. But he or she said, life is not a puzzle to be solved or a question to be answered. It's a mystery to be experienced. So to me, exploring mystery, which is synonymous, in my opinion, with becoming more intimate with a connection to something greater than ourselves. That might be Mother Nature. It might be our community. It might be some kind of spirit or higher self. So to me, exploring mystery, one of the ways we do that is go outside of our comfort zone. I personally like to do something that makes me uncomfortable every single day. So to me, that's kind of like my purpose of spirituality, explore the mystery. Zephyr, I'm going to leave you in here, buddy. He doesn't yell at me. Do I believe in the goddess? Yeah, it's probably all I believe in. Courtney, can I come to Houston? I probably can. It's not on my schedule. but stay tuned. Maybe it will be sometime, but it sounds like probably not super soon. Thoughts on Jesus? Yeah, Jesus. That's quite a question. Yeah, honestly, I don't have too many thoughts, to be honest with you. Let's see. How do you figure out what to do for the rest of your life? In my opinion, by not trying to figure out what to do for the rest of your life. It's like saying, what food do you want to eat for the next 80 years? I think, it's like our present day self does our future self a complete disservice if we try to write our future in stone. To me, it's very disrespectful to who we will become in the future. So it's kind of like if what satiates us now still satiates us 5, 10, 50 years into the future, then that means we haven't grown, we haven't evolved inside of ourselves. So to me, it would be incredibly scary to be able to accurately predict what you want to do now and therefore for the rest of your life. I would dare say a good life is one where we look at the question, what can I do now to have a fulfilling life? Keyword, borrow Eckhart Tolle's keyword, now. What can I do now to have a fulfilling life? And if we can ask ourselves that question, not just that one time here on September 7th or September 8th, 2016, but ask that of ourselves regularly, then the beauty of that is we get to have a new answer, because as we change, evolve, grow, heal old wounds, then what makes us fulfilled 5 years from now will likely be very different than what fulfills us right now. It's like, to me, it's like having a 5-year-old kid saying, what pair of pants will fit that child for the rest of their life? They're, okay, he's 2.5 feet tall, so let me give him this child size small. I don't know how they measure like children's clothes sizes. So bear with me in this analogy. And within probably a few months, the child's going to start outgrowing those pants, let alone 30 years later. Here you have a 40 or a 35-year-old man, if my math is correctly, wearing little boy pants that are a perfect fit for a 5-year-old, but a terrible fit for a 35-year-old. So one of the things that I think a lot of our minds have an allergy to, it's not an allergy because that would imply it's kind of negative, but what our minds have a phobia to is mystery. Getting on my mystery soapbox again. So we like to erase the mystery out of life. What do I want to do for the rest of my life? Is like saying, how can I erase any possibility of mystery? How can I erase any possibility of an unknown? But if we embrace the mystery, James Hollis, my favorite author from a few questions ago, says, what the hell does he say? Oh yeah, the quality of one's life is proportional to their ability to tolerate ambiguity, their ability to tolerate mystery. So I think we can have a great, fulfilling life where we're doing the old proverbial thing, fulfilled within, if we can tolerate mystery and ask ourselves, what will fulfill me now? Rather than trying to prophesize our future, write it in stone before it happens. To me, that's like saying to our future self, your life doesn't matter. I'm going to try to live your life now dictated by your past so that I can have a more comfortable sense of self by believing my future is already determined. I think comfort zone is synonymous with coffin. I'm going to get off my soapbox on that. Is that only like 3 hours on that question? What kind of projects am I working on? How do I stay inspired? So thank you, Fight Master Yoga, for that lovely question. The book project's been a big thing that I've been doing. And then I'm going to be vague here because I don't like to give super specific details about things that who knows where they're going to go. But I got a TV agreement signed with a beautiful production company that I'm working with. So stay tuned. Our intention is to develop a show based on my ultra spiritual character. We're in the process of that, and fingers crossed that it'll get picked up by network, whoever buys TV shows. But it may turn into nothing. So, but anyway, that's another project amongst other things happening. Do you know you have a ghost in your house? Yes, I do. How many salt lamps are required to be spiritual? Take your body weight, divide it by 2, and that's how many salt lamps you need in order to be spiritual. How do I get my daughter to do her homework? Sounds like you actually might not get her to do her homework. Did I ever use cocaine? No. Let's see. Try for Netflix original. I'd love for it to jump into Netflix. Have I ever done a 10-day meditation retreat? No, I haven't. I'm intrigued about that, but I realize I've never done that. So apparently part of me doesn't want to do it. I think our actions speak louder than words, so I can sit here and say, yes, I want to do that. But I think actions speak louder than words and surely louder than thoughts. So apparently part of me just doesn't want to do one. Another part of me wants to want to do one. Do I do any drugs? No, I don't. Do I believe in Mother Goddess? Yeah, right on. Of course. How do I deal with letting go of a loved one? Man, grieve, and grieve hard, and grieve often, and give yourself the space to keep on grieving. Not only grieving who that person was to you, whether you lose them through death or by choice a relationship breaks up, but also grieving who you wanted that person to be, who you thought they would be to you in the future, as well as who you thought you would be and who you wanted to be for that person. So I think there's a lot of dimensions of grieving that aren't really recognized, and therefore we have a lot of stuck grief in us, because it's hard to grieve the grief that we don't know is there. But just because we don't know it's there doesn't mean that it's not there. So yeah, I've got a sincere video on grief. I don't know what it's called, something about grieving. You can search for that, where I'll probably just ramble on that same thought, but it'll last like 18 minutes. Alis in Lutum, I love you too. Do I still have an ego? Absolutely, I do not have an ego. It's probably the most egotistical thing I could ever say. Marco, thank you for thinking I rock, my friend. Appreciate that. Bob Knob, thoughts on the meaning of life? Yes. In this moment, I'm going to say to experience mystery. And I think looking for the meaning of life can distract us from living and experiencing mystery. So yeah, live the mystery, not just search for the meaning of life. Debbie Readers, aliens, question mark. Yes, I want more aliens in my life. Do I have weight loss recommendations? I don't necessarily recommend that people lose weight unless I actually hear a little bit about their story. I think sometimes people try to lose weight for the wrong reasons. If it's truly your reasons, then wonderful. So anyway, I digress. Here's a straight answer to that. Sleeping 8 hours, going to bed like 10 o'clock at night and sleeping until at least 6 a.m. It is so powerful for weight loss. It really is. BJ, thank you for your wonderful words, thinking I'm inspiring. I'm inspired to hear that you think I'm inspiring. Thank you for that. How old am I? I'm 35. I think 35. Zephyr just made a noise, so that's my cue that I'm correct. What do I think of high schools offering yoga classes? Man, I think it is such a good idea. I think it should be wrong for high schools not to offer yoga classes. Yeah. Today's random video. Can I tell your cat that he matters? Yes. Kitty cat, you matter. Cool. Well, in just a quick second, guys, I'm going to click off. I appreciate you hanging with me. I don't know how long we've been rolling along, probably about an hour. So thank you yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me here for whatever portion of this broadcast you've been on. And I just saw a quick question there, where something about where can I get a Spiritual is Health t-shirt. Stay tuned. Likely within a month, maybe even sooner, those will be available, as well as some other ultra spiritual t-shirts. I finally found the right company to partner with so that those can be 100% available to the world, because the world needs more ultra spiritual shirts. Would you agree? Shameless promotion right there, JP, so stay tuned. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me here, watching my stuff. It means the world to me. Part of me still thinks it's ridiculous that people want to watch things that I put out that are first and foremost meant to amuse me, and they do. And for you guys to be weird enough that you actually like the stuff I put out, that tickles me. It really does. Thank you, guys. I'll be talking to you soon.